International. Guangdong Sky Tower, night. Rain. Floor-to-ceiling windows reveal Seoul's glittering skyline through sheets of rain. Thunder rumbles. A trembling African woman sits across from a cold Korean crime leader at an obsidian desk. Rae Junseo, voice calm icy. Sign it, Miss Mensah. I don't repeat myself. Ariel Mensah swallows hard. 1 year, no affection, no questions, just marriage? Ari, you're not marrying me. You're solving a problem. Ariel, why me? Ari leans back ice cold. Because you're temporary. And because you're the last person my family would approve of. Ariel, that's why you want me? Ari, that's why you're perfect. Lightning crashes behind him as she hesitates. Then he leans forward. Rae, sign it or walk away. But don't pretend your brother has time. Ariel freezes. Her phone buzzes, a message from the hospital in Accra. Her brother's condition is worsening. Ariel, I want half paid up front. Ari stares at her surprised. You're bold. Ariel, I'm not stupid. A pause. Something sharp flickers in his eyes. Respect? Recognition? Ari. Very well. Sign Ariel Mensah, become Mrs. Rae. She signs, not knowing she's just stepped into a war. And a man hiding a wound deeper than his scars. If you're already hooked, hit that like button and subscribe. This story gets darker, steamier, and more dangerous. You won't want to miss what happens next. Ariel Mensah had never imagined her life would lead to this moment. Sitting in a rain-battered tower in Seoul, signing away a year of her life to a man whose eyes held no warmth, only calculation. She pressed the pen to paper, her hand trembling. The contract was simple. Brutal even. 1 year of marriage. No love. No questions. No emotional entanglement. In exchange, $1.2 million. Half now. Half when the year ended. She needed that money. Desperately. Her younger brother, Kwesi, lay in a hospital bed in Accra, fighting for his life after a robbery gone wrong. The bullet had lodged near his spine. The surgery was experimental, expensive, and their only hope. Ariel had drained every account, begged every friend, worked triple shifts at Busan General Hospital as a trauma nurse. It wasn't enough. And then Rae Junseo's assistant had found her. The offer had seemed impossible. Insane. But when she'd looked at Kwesi's medical bills, at the countdown ticking in her mind, she'd known she had no choice. Rae watched her sign with the stillness of a predator. He was tall, lean, and sharply dressed in a black suit that looked like it cost more than her annual salary. His face was beautiful in a cold, carved way. High cheekbones, a sharp jaw, dark eyes that revealed nothing. His black hair was slicked back, and a thin scar ran from his left temple to his ear. He didn't smile. He didn't offer comfort. He simply slid a sleek black folder across the desk. Your first payment will be transferred within the hour, he said. The wedding is in 3 days. You'll be fitted for a dress tomorrow. My assistant will handle the logistics. Ariel stared at him, trying to read something, anything, beneath that icy exterior. Why are you doing this? That's not your concern. It is if I'm marrying you. His gaze sharpened. For a moment, she thought he might end the arrangement right there. But instead he leaned forward, his voice dropping to something almost dangerous. My family expects me to marry someone suitable. Someone from their world. I have no intention of giving them that satisfaction. He paused. You're temporary. Convenient. And when this year is over, you'll disappear and I'll be free. Free from what? She wanted to ask. But the look in his eyes told her that question would go unanswered. 3 days, she said quietly. I'll need to call my family. Tell them whatever you need to. He stood, buttoning his suit jacket. But understand this, Miss Mensah. Once you walk into that registry office, you belong to me. At least in the eyes of everyone who matters. He left without another word, his footsteps echoing in the vast, empty office. Ariel sat alone in the silence, rain hammering against the glass. What had she just agreed to? 3 days passed in a blur. Ariel was measured, dressed, photographed. Rae's team moved with military efficiency. No one smiled. No one asked questions. She was treated like a chess piece being positioned on a board. The dress they'd chosen for her was stunning. champagne silk with delicate beading along the bodice. It hugged her curves elegantly, flowing into a soft train. She barely recognized herself in the mirror. Her hair, thick and curly, had been styled into loose waves that framed her face. Gold earrings dangled from her ears. She looked like someone else. Someone who belonged in this world. But she didn't. The registry office was small, sterile, and impersonal. No flowers. No guests. Just two witnesses, Rae's stone-faced assistant and a lawyer who looked bored. Rae stood at the front in a charcoal suit, his expression unreadable. When Ariel walked in, his eyes flicked to her, just once, and something passed through them. Something he quickly buried. The ceremony was efficient. Cold. They exchanged no vows, only the legal necessities. Do you, Rae Junseo, take Ariel Mensah as your lawful wife? I do. Do you, Ariel Mensah, take Rae Junseo as your lawful husband? She hesitated. Just for a second. I do. The officiant stamped the papers. You may kiss the bride. Rae didn't move. Neither did Ariel. The officiant cleared his throat awkwardly. Or not. Rae turned to his assistant. We're done here. But as they stepped outside for the obligatory photos, part of the charade, Rae placed his hand on Ariel's waist. His touch was firm, warm, and sent a jolt through her she hadn't expected. She looked up at him, startled. He didn't meet her gaze. The photographer snapped several shots. Rae's hand stayed on her waist the entire time, his jaw tight, his expression distant. But Ariel felt it, the tension. The war he was fighting inside himself. When the photos were done, he pulled his hand away as if burned. Get in the car, he said quietly. The ride to his estate was silent. Rain streaked the windows of the black Mercedes. The city lights blurred into streaks of gold and red. Ariel sat on one side of the back seat, Rae on the other, a canyon of space between them. She wanted to say something. Anything. But the words wouldn't come. Finally, she broke the silence. You're a terrible liar. Rae's head turned slightly, his eyes narrowing. Excuse me. Back there. The photos. She met his gaze steadily. You felt something. His expression hardened. You're mistaken. Am I? He looked away, his jaw clenching. Don't read into things that aren't there, Miss Mensah. It's Mrs. Rae now, isn't it? That got a reaction. A subtle twitch at the corner of his mouth. Not quite a smile, but close. Careful, he said softly. You're playing a dangerous game. So are you. They locked eyes, and for a moment, the air between them crackled with something neither of them could name. Then Rae looked away, his walls slamming back into place. We'll arrive soon. My grandmother will be waiting. Ariel's stomach tightened. Your grandmother? Hansuri. She's formidable. That wasn't reassuring. The Gwangdo mountain estate was breathtaking. Nestled in the forested hills outside Seoul, it was a fusion of modern glass architecture and traditional Korean design. Stone pathways wound through meticulously maintained gardens. Koi ponds glimmered under soft lighting. Cedar corridors stretched between buildings, their roofs curved in elegant lines. Armed guards stood at intervals, silent and watchful. Ariel's breath caught. This wasn't just wealth. This was power. Rae led her through the main entrance, his hand briefly touching the small of her back, a gesture so natural it seemed unconscious. Inside, the estate was equally stunning. Polished wood floors, embroidered silk screens, minimalist furniture that somehow felt warm. And standing in the center of the grand hall was an elderly woman who radiated authority. Hansuri was in her 70s, but age had only sharpened her presence. She wore a deep purple hanbok embroidered with silver cranes. Her hair was pinned elegantly. Her eyes, dark and keen, swept over Ariel with the precision of a blade. She said something in rapid Korean. Rae responded, his tone respectful but guarded. Then Hansuri smiled. It was a knowing smile. A smile that said she saw far more than either of them realized. She stepped forward and took Ariel's hands in hers, her grip surprisingly strong. Welcome, child, she said in perfect, unaccented English. You are braver than you know. Ariel blinked, surprised. Thank you, ma'am. Hansuri's gaze flicked to Rae. She said something in Korean, low-pointed. Ray's expression tightened. He replied curtly. His grandmother laughed, a sharp, delighted sound, and patted Ariel's hand. You've unsettled him already. Good. He needs it. With that, she swept away, leaving Ariel standing in the hall, thoroughly confused. Rae's jaw was clenched so tight she thought it might crack. What did she say to you? Ariel asked. Nothing that concerns you. Rae, I'll show you to your room. His tone left no room for argument. Her room was in the east wing, a spacious suite with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the gardens. The bed was massive, draped in soft white linens. A sitting area. A private bathroom with a soaking tub. It was beautiful, and it was far from Rae's quarters. We'll share the master suite tonight, Rae said from the doorway. For appearances. Tomorrow you'll move here. Ariel turned to face him. One night. One night. He looked like he wanted to say more, but instead he left, closing the door softly behind him. Ariel sank onto the bed, her mind spinning. What had she gotten herself into? That night, she met him in the master suite. It was enormous, dark wood, floor-to-ceiling windows, a king-sized bed that looked like it had never been slept in. Everything was immaculate. Cold. Like a hotel room. Rae was already there, standing by the window, staring out at the rain. He'd removed his suit jacket. His white shirt was unbuttoned at the collar, his sleeves rolled up. Ariel's breath caught. Even from behind he was striking. I'll take the couch, he said without turning. You don't have to. I do. He finally looked at her, and the exhaustion in his eyes startled her. Get some sleep, Ariel. She wanted to argue, but something in his voice stopped her. Instead, she nodded and moved toward the bathroom to change. When she emerged in a simple sleep shirt, Rae was gone. She heard the shower running. Minutes later he stepped out, and Ariel froze. He was shirtless, a towel slung low on his hips. Water dripped from his hair, tracing lines down his chest. But it wasn't his body that made her stare. It was the scars. They covered him. Deep, surgical scars across his ribs. Burn marks on his shoulder. Knife wounds that looked like they'd been stitched hastily. A brutal roadmap of violence. Rae saw her staring. His expression shuddered. I know. Not pleasant to look at. That's not. Ariel stepped forward. Rae, what happened to you? Nothing that concerns you. Stop saying that. His eyes snapped to hers, sharp. Dangerous. You signed a contract, Ariel. Not a confession booth. I'm a nurse. I can see when someone's in pain. He laughed, a bitter, humorless sound. Pain is relative. She moved closer, her gaze dropping to his left shoulder. The skin there was inflamed, angry red. You're injured. It's nothing. Let me see. Ariel. Sit. Down. Something in her voice, firm, unyielding, made him comply. He sank onto the edge of the bed, his jaw tight. Ariel knelt beside him, her fingers gently probing the inflamed tissue. He flinched. When did this happen? 2 weeks ago. It's healing. It's infected. She met his eyes. You need antibiotics. And someone needs to massage the scar tissue or it'll tighten permanently. I don't need. Yes, you do. She stood, moving to her bag. I have medical supplies. Let me help. He stared at her, something unreadable flickering in his expression. Finally he nodded. She worked in silence, her hands steady and sure. She cleaned the wound first, then applied antibiotic cream. Rae didn't make a sound, but she felt the tension radiating from him. This is going to hurt, she warned as she began massaging the scar tissue. I've had worse. She believed him. Her fingers worked through the damaged muscle, breaking up adhesions, encouraging blood flow. Rae's breathing changed, slow, controlled, as if he were fighting something inside himself. You can relax, she said softly. I don't relax. Why not? He was silent for a long moment. Then quietly. Because the moment I do, I remember. Remember what? Everything I've lost. The vulnerability in his voice stole her breath. She kept working, her touch gentle but firm. Minutes passed. The tension in his body began to ease. And then, so quietly she almost missed it, he exhaled. A real breath. Deep. Unguarded. Ariel's hands stilled. Rae turned his head, looking at her over his shoulder. Their eyes met. and something shifted. The air between them thickened, charged with something neither of them could name. Ariel. His voice was rough. She should have stepped back. Should have remembered the contract. The boundaries. But she didn't. Instead, she whispered, "What happened to you, Rae?" He turned fully, his gaze locked on hers. "I made enemies. Powerful ones. They tried to kill me. Nearly succeeded." His jaw tightened. "The scars are a reminder that I'm still here. Still fighting." "Who did this? That's the question, isn't it?" His hand lifted, almost unconsciously, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "The person who ordered the hit. They're still out there. Still inside my family." Ariel's heart pounded. "Your family? Someone I trust. Someone close." His thumb traced her cheekbone. "That's why I can't afford weakness. Can't afford." He trailed off, his gaze dropping to her lips. "Don't," Ariel thought. "Don't do this." But he was already leaning in. And she wasn't pulling away. The kiss was slow. Tentative. As if he were testing the waters of something he'd long denied himself. But then something broke. Years of control. Of numbness. Of walls built so high they'd become a prison. Rae's hand slid into her hair, deepening the kiss, and Ariel gasped against his mouth. He pulled back, breathing hard. I can't lose control again. Rae. Every time I let someone in, I lose them." She saw it then, the fear beneath the ice. The boy who'd learned that love meant loss. "You haven't lost me," she whispered. "Not yet." She reached up, cupping his face. "Then don't push me away." For a moment, he just stared at her. And then, he kissed her again. This time, there was no hesitation. He lifted her carefully, reverently, and laid her on the bed. His touch was trembling. As if she were something precious he was afraid to break. Ariel. Her name was a prayer on his lips. She pulled him closer, her hands tracing the scars she'd just healed. And for the first time in years, Rae Junseo let himself feel. Morning light filtered through the windows, soft and golden. Ariel woke slowly, wrapped in warmth. In Rae's arms. He was still asleep, his face finally peaceful. She studied him. The sharp lines of his face, the scar on his temple, the way his dark lashes rested against his cheeks. He looked younger like this. Vulnerable. Her heart twisted. This wasn't supposed to happen. She wasn't supposed to feel anything. But God help her, she did. Rae stirred, his eyes opening. For a moment he looked confused. And then he saw her. Something soft entered his expression. Something she'd never seen before. "Morning," he said quietly. "Morning." They lay there in silence, neither willing to break the spell. Then Rae's phone buzzed. Once. Twice. Insistently. He sighed, reaching for it. His expression changed instantly, shuddering, hardening. "What is it?" Ariel asked. He showed her the screen. A photo. Viral. Already spreading across social media. Rae, holding Ariel at their wedding. His hand on her waist. Her looking up at him. The caption read, "The mighty Rae Junseo, reduced to importing a bride." Ariel's stomach dropped. Who posted this? Rae's jaw clenched. My cousin. Jinwoo. Why would he? To humiliate me. To prove I'm unfit to lead. He stood, his entire demeanor shifting. The vulnerable man from moments ago was gone, replaced by the cold crime lord. There's an emergency family council meeting. Today. What does that mean? He looked at her, and for the first time, she saw real fear in his eyes. It means they're going to try to strip me of my position. And you're about to walk into a war. Ariel stood in front of the mirror, her heart pounding. The outfit they'd prepared for her was stunning. A modern fusion of African and Korean styles. A deep burgundy hanbok with Kent-inspired gold patterns woven through the fabric. The sleeves were elegant, the skirt flowing. Her curly hair had been styled into a regal updo, adorned with gold pins shaped like phoenix wings. She looked powerful, royal, untouchable. But inside she was terrified. A knock at the door. Han Suri entered, her expression serene. You look beautiful, child. I feel like I'm going to war. You are. The old woman moved closer, adjusting one of the gold pins. But you're stronger than you think. Why did you push him to marry me? Ariel asked suddenly. Rae said you encouraged this. Hansuri smiled. Because I've watched my grandson build walls for 15 years. Watched him become a ghost. And then you walked into his life, and for the first time, I saw him feel something. Ariel's throat tightened. He's going to push me away. Perhaps. But I don't think you'll let him. She squeezed Ariel's hand. Fight for him, Ariel. Not because of the contract, but because you want to. She swept from the room, leaving Ariel standing alone. The family council room was intimidating. Stone floors. Silk scrolls on the walls. A long table where 12 powerful men sat, their faces stern. At the head of the table sat Rae Junseo. Younger than Rae, handsome in a sharp, dangerous way, with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Rae and Ariel entered together. Every eye turned to them. Jinwoo's smile widened. Ah, the happy couple. Rae's hand tightened on Ariel's waist, a subtle, protective gesture. They sat. Jinwoo leaned forward. Shall we begin? The matter is simple, Jinwoo said, his voice smooth. Our esteemed leader has made a questionable decision. Marrying an outsider. A foreigner. With no ties to our world, no understanding of our ways. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the room. He did this, Jinwoo continued, as an act of spite. To insult our traditions. To thumb his nose at this family. That's not true, Rae said coldly. Isn't it? Jinwoo's eyes gleamed. You chose the one woman guaranteed to offend everyone. Admit it, cousin. This was never about love. It was about control. Ariel's heart sank. But then Rae stood. You're right, he said quietly. I chose Ariel to provoke you. To disrupt your expectations. No, Ariel thought. Don't. But you're wrong about why. Rae's gaze swept the room. I chose a woman of strength. A woman who heals, who fights, who stands her ground even when the odds are against her. He looked at Ariel, and his voice softened. A woman whose presence threatens the cowards who hide behind tradition. Silence. Ariel stared at him, her heart pounding. I chose her, Rae continued, because she's everything this family isn't. Honest. Brave. Real. Jinwoo's smile faltered. Then Hansuri spoke from the back of the room. I knew, she said calmly. I knew what my grandson planned. And I approved. Every head turned. Because unlike the rest of you, she continued, I saw what he needed. Not another political alliance. Not another cold arrangement. But someone who could reach him. She stepped forward, her gaze locking on Jinwoo. And as for you, nephew, my investigators have been watching. We know about your leaks to the police. Your attempts to undermine Junseo's operations. Jinwoo paled. So before you question my grandson's fitness to lead, Hansuri said icily, perhaps you should examine your own. She called for a vote of confidence. It was close. Tense. But Rae won. Barely. After the meeting, Rae pulled Ariel into a private corridor. His hands framed her face, his expression raw. I meant what I said in there. Ariel's breath caught. Rae, I chose you to forget you. To keep you at a distance. His voice cracked. But now I don't know how to let you go. Tears stung her eyes. I wasn't supposed to stay. I know. But I feel something, Rae. Something impossible. He kissed her, desperate, trembling. When they pulled apart, his forehead rested against hers. There's something I haven't told you, he whispered. The attack that scarred me, it wasn't random. Someone in this family ordered it. Ariel's blood ran cold. Ooh, that's what I've been trying to find out for 2 years. He gripped her hands. But whoever it is, they're patient. Ruthless. And they're still watching. Then we find them together. Rae's eyes searched hers. You mean that? Yes. He pulled her close, his arms tightening around her. Ariel Mensah, he murmured. What have you done to me? She smiled against his chest. Probably the same thing you've done to me. They left the council chamber hand in hand. Outside, rain had started again, soft cleansing. But across the garden, hidden behind a tree, a figure watched. A sniper scope tracked their movements. The crosshairs settled. Not on Rae. On Ariel. A finger hovered over the trigger. That's the end of part 1. If you want to see what happens next, if Ariel survives, if Rae finds the traitor, if their love can survive the darkness closing in. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment telling me your location and what you think happens next. Part 2 drops soon if this video reaches 10K views, and trust me, you're not ready for what's coming. See you in the next one.